Welcome to Real Talk Texas. I'm your host, Steve Hakes. We're heard every Sunday here at noon, and we're glad to be back again today. We are talking about real estate this week, and last week we talked about some financial planning and things like that you need to do, and we had Dr. Carl Howe in the studio, and this week we're back to real estate, and we're talking about what's going on in the North Texas market, and as you've heard on this show and probably other shows as well, it's a hot market out there right now. It really, the flip happened back in probably February, March, where it became a seller's market. And that was a big surprise for a lot of people, and including myself, that the market really rebounded back as fast as it did. Values are going up in North Texas. And I'm sure you're listening to some national news, which seem a little, I think the national news is a little less dramatic than North Texas. So I wanted to bring in an expert into the studio today. And today we've got Lydia Player, and she's with Ebby Holiday. She's a star producer for Ebby Holiday Realtors. In 2013, she was named Best Realtor in D Magazine, and Texas Monthly named her a star agent. She's also an accredited luxury home specialist and named in the top 90, well, she is in the top 99 realtors in the world on Twitter. She's been quoted in USA Today, Dallas Morning News, and Dallas Business Journal, Advocate Magazine, People's Newspaper, and interviewed by DFW's Channel 8, 4, and 11. So a lot of people lean on Lydia for some expert advice and what's going on in the marketplace. So she's been kind enough to join us in the studio today to talk on Real Talk Texas today. So welcome, Lydia.
Thank you.
Lydia, we're going to get really in for our listeners what's going on in the marketplace, because some realtors have reported that, we had a real rush and then it kind of slowed down in the last week or so. But I really want to get our listeners in tuned as to what's going on in North Texas market, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But first, for those listeners that don't know you, like to know a little more about you and what you're doing, and you're with Ebby Holiday now. And tell me, let's start off with how you got in the business.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I got into the business because I really love to shop for homes. Some people, they like to shoe shop, they're into cars or something like that. I really like homes. And I have flipped 7 homes myself as a hobby before I got into real estate. And then the family got kind of tired of moving. So I have 3 kids in undergrad is the reason also that I got into real estate. So 3 kids in college, big motivator.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that there's a statistic out there about the number of realtors, and if you really look at the number of licensed real estate agents out there, there's thousands of realtors out there. But what I've found, and from a mortgage standpoint, is there's maybe a 1 or 5% of those total number of agents that do all the transactions, and you're one of those people because you're serious about the business.
Yes, that's true. There are a lot of people who've got a real estate license, a lot of people who do it part-time. But, there are a lot of us that are serious, that's right, and I'm here for the money, just like everybody who does professional, serious work.
And you've really honed into the North Dallas, North Texas market. Tell me where you do transactions. I believe you told me you did even a ranch in West Texas.
Well, yeah, I closed a ranch in West Texas this week and, condo in Uptown last week. But most of my business, 90% of my business is in North Dallas, south of LBJ, the Preston Hollow neighborhood. So, that's my niche. That's where I really know what's happening. However, I follow, statistics in the market in the entire North Texas area because we all affect each other.
And we'll talk about that. We're going to give some real raw data for everyone that's listening out there in the next segment, and we'll drill into what's happening there. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is, since you do focus on the North Dallas area, what are the price ranges of those homes typically?
My average sale is $1 million. So we're priced typically anywhere from $300,000. You can get a townhome in North Dallas for $150,000, all the way up to multi-million, go up to $10 million and on over.
Okay. And do you represent mostly the sellers or the buyers, or how's that work?
Most of my business, I work for sellers, and it varies every year. Some years I'll have 90% of my business is sellers. Other years it might be 60%. But mostly I like to market a home. However, knowing my own market, I work with buyers occasionally too. But we've had the occasion to have a lot of sellers. A lot of people coming into the market from out of town, out of state, that are buying here. And so I really enjoy marketing a property as a seller to people who coming from all over the country.
And if you're a regular listener out there, you've heard that statement before about people moving into the Metroplex, and you've heard me talk about how right now we're just under 7 million people in the DFW market. And what's happening with all the road building that's happening out there, that's not done just because people are thinking that we've got too much congestion. What we're doing in North Texas, we're preparing for what all of the economists are saying, that since we're such a business-friendly area of the country, we're seeing thousands of people move to North Texas on a daily basis. And the projection from the Texas A&M real estate department is saying that we'll have over 13 million people in DFW by 2030.
Oh, and believe it. They are moving here in droves. Texas is a land of milk and honey when it comes to real estate. I've participated in conferences with realtors all over the country and had an occasion to talk to a lot of them. And their businesses have been really bad. Their economies have been really bad. Sure, we've all, hit that big bump in the road a few years back, but not like they have in other parts of the country. I'm so glad I don't live in California or Florida or Arizona. We kind of had the ripple effect. Those areas, saw a loss of, 40 to 50% of the value of their properties. And here we were complaining when, we had a, 10% loss or something like that. So it really was just the trickle effect that affected us. And as the economy's been recovering and the real estate's been recovering, Texas is leading the way. We are really doing well. It's because people are moving here. It's the jobs. And the real estate market is one of the first markets you see that's pulling the rest of our economy back.
And I think we've seen that, and we can talk more, but I think one of the things we've seen is that when values went down, we're not used to that here. So I think a lot of people said, oh, no, I'm not going to sell my house for less than what I bought it for. That's a knee-jerk reaction. So a lot of the inventory went away in the marketplace, and the sellers, I think, were waiting for the pricing to come back before they would list and make that next move. And today in the studio, if you just tuned in, we've got Lydia Player with Ebby Holiday. She's our expert for real estate for the North Texas market. She's going to talk more about what's happening as a buyer or a seller. We're also going to get some statistics from, what exactly has been happening, up-to-date statistics. So you've got some local news here about what's going on in the real estate market and the values. We're also going to give you some key advice from an expert here about what to do when you're getting ready to buy or sell a home. You're listening to Real Talk Texas on KLIF News and Information, so stay tuned.